Hello there, fellow NPCs. I am Scythe, and today we're getting back into Everlasting Summer. We are on the Yulya path right now, and which is part of the secret ending. We have already met the cat girl who is named Yulya, if I remember correctly. We haven't been given a name in the game yet, but that is what she is called in the guide. So yeah, that is where we're headed right now. But as I also said, it is just one of two secret endings. So we will see exactly what those two endings looks like. Now, let's go. The canteen was crowded as usual. Some things never change. For the first time I looked at all the local pioneers from a slightly different angle. Indeed, why is everything so correct? As if someone's created this pioneer camp by carefully compiling material from the internet without bothering to visit such a place himself. Ooh, that's an interesting take. It was just like an old Soviet movie. The strict camp leader, the exemplary pioneers, even Uliana, and even Alyssa. All within their normal range. So where does that strange girl come from? She seemed like a smear of paint that just happened to be on the picture due to the shaky hands of a sloppy restorer. Electronic suddenly sat beside me. Hey there, he smirked. Hey, what are you thinking about? Just, there was absolutely nothing wrong with speaking openly to anyone. Not anymore. Did you happen to see anyone strange here? Strange? Well, not quite human. I don't really understand. Electronic laughed. A girl with cat ears and a tail, I said shortly. A girl with cat ears and a tail. He began to think. How do you even know about her? Okay. Well, let's assume I saw her. This conversation was started to get interesting. Let's assume, or you actually did. Is it really so important? Electronic stared at me seriously. There is a legend here about a cat girl. She steals food, small bits and pieces of stuff, and avoids people. Really? A legend? So what does the girl look like? I never saw her myself. They say that she has a tail and the ears, as you described. What else? Well, the legend is old, and I don't know much about it. Who do you think knows more? Ask Olga Dmitrievna. She's been in this camp many times, even before she became a camp leader. Alright, thanks. I stood up and went to find the camp leader. I bet she decided to take a nap after lunch. Perhaps Olga Dmitrievna was the only element that was somewhat out of place in the picture of an ideal camp. She certainly was not a role model camp leader. I opened the door and confidently entered the cabin. And indeed, she was lying on the bed and reading a book, as expected. Semyon? Slacking again? And we have the mystery soundtrack on. Interesting. Actually, yes, but anyway, I wanted to ask you something. She stared at me and I hesitated a little. Maybe I shouldn't be so straightforward about everything. It was like my internal firewall had triggered and I just could not tell the camp leader that I had seen the cat girl today. Maybe I got quite used to hinting at something, avoiding straight questions, lying and keeping words back. In just 4 days. Although I guess I'd be doing that my whole life. Olga Dmitrievna, I was at dinner, spoke with Electronic, and he told me a legend about a cat girl that supposedly lives here. He also said that you would know more. Why do you need to know that? The camp leader gave me a piercing look and stood up. Just curious. I like stuff like this. I tried to smile, but it didn't seem to make things any better. We have a completely normal camp. Sure you do. Completely normal. Don't even want to imagine what you'd call unusual. I suppose something with zombies and maniacs. Well, we've had that in the last video. A Nightmare on Sovianok Street. Dude! I wanted to I could have used that as a title. Yes, I understand, but Electronics said that you visited this place before. Yes, the camp leader was thinking about something. However, there is indeed a legend that somewhere in the surrounding woods a strange cat girl lives, sometimes stealing food and small items from cabins. She is afraid of people, and if someone accidentally sees her, she runs away. That's quite different from what I saw this morning. That girl was more like watching me, studying, trying to understand, but not afraid at all. And you, have I seen her? Olga Dmitrievna interrupted me. No, I haven't, but I was quite close to doing so several times. Bottles, milk, tooth powder, and plenty of other things disappear from my cabin sometimes. Yes, I do know that the tooth powder disappeared once. Or a few times. I think 3 so far. Mysteriously disappeared without a trace. I completely forgotten about the fact that all the pioneers here do not actually exist, and just listen attentively to the camp leader. I was curious where this stuff disappeared to before, but in the end there's no evidence of her existence. She smiled, as if implying that this conversation is over. And if there was? Why are you so interested in this? Who wouldn't be interested in stuff like this? Though I still had many things to rack my brains for. I don't know. The camp leader thought about something for a second and then turned to her usual mother of all camps state. Well, seems like you decided to become completely laid back. Do something already. She paused and stretched herself in such a way that wrinkles that shouldn't even be there at her age came out. Go on, get down to business. I sighed and went out. All in all, no one from among the pioneers has ever seen a cat girl. They'd only heard legends. Well, I should probably find her. I already recovered from this morning's shock events, and existential thoughts had by now stopped pressuring my brain, so it was possible for me to take a reasonable position, more or less. It was necessary because I still had a lot of questions. How did I get here? For what reason? Why? And where is this here? And the cat girl is the catalyst for it all. But I didn't want to start theorizing about parallel worlds, aliens, experiments, and the afterlife again. I was fed up with this after just my first few hours in this camp. Perhaps I just need to put aside the theories and look at the physical reality. Even if I assume that this world exists regardless of my will and I have to live here, my arrival here is inexplicable. It's more worthwhile to concentrate on studying this world and analyzing possible events which may happen to me here. I'll do that until the opposite is proven. Until then, let's assume that I'm stuck here. For the long haul, if not forever. The deck chair melodically squeaked with my every movement. Lilac branches tried to strike me in the face, and the vile morning birds were silent for a long time, apparently tired of the summer heat. The treetops seemed like sharp peaks of the high walls of a medieval castle, lost in the boundless woods. And these cabins, the squares, Genda's monument, the clubhouse building are just a little village of peasants, huddling near the millennial walls of a grim fortress, hidden in a grove. And all of us here, either people like me or catgirls, are just servants of an evil genius hiding somewhere out there. It would be much easier if the camp was on top of a hill. Because 1,000 years ago, the best place for fortification was always somewhere up high. Probably that someone just has something to be afraid of. But in that case, he would not hide so carefully behind the treetops. Oh, as I was sleeping, I sighed and closed my eyes. My consciousness slowly started to desert me, and soon the whole world faded into darkness and the music disappeared. What is this? And again before my eyes, like an endless carpet, the road, surrounded by woods and fields, goes ever on. The bus is going somewhere, leaving behind everything I knew, loved and hated. An unfamiliar girl is leaning over me and gently whispering something in my ear. I'm actually interested in what she's saying. but I can't hear her. I'm just watching everything from the side and can see everything except her face. And hear everything except her words. And feel everything except my own life. Okay. I woke up feeling like I was suffocating and began greedily sucking in air. My breath soon went back to normal and an intolerable thirst came upon me. But what was that dream all about? And who was that girl? These questions again. Maybe I've already died and gone to hell. Can a human being feel that his life is now over and that he can just move on to the next stage of existence? My head was about to explode due to such cosmic thoughts. What did I do to deserve this? I'm just an ordinary guy, not a philosopher, not a theologist, not a scientist. And I don't want to understand the substance of things, the way of the universe. I'm not asking for any more than just to live my life peacefully, and then doze off into an eternal sleep when everything is over. But no, I'm just trapped here. Tears of frustration welled up in my eyes. And why is it always like this? I started to think that if I gave it any more thought, I would either understand the substance of all things, or go insane for good. Ultimately, it all started with a buzz. I got in, went to sleep, and there was a girl. Perhaps one of the local pioneers, maybe even that cat-eared one. Well, why not? I can't rule a single idea out. So I'm here now. My thoughts stopped. Tumbleweed rolled back and forth in my brain, bouncing around the organ which kept my ears from falling off. And that's all. Now I'm here, in hell, heaven, purgatory, or whatever. Looks like I'm going to spend the rest of my eternity in this place. For some reason I fixated on this exact theory. It's strange that I didn't care about the fact that a spiritual being doesn't have basic human senses. Sight, hearing, touch. All in all, at first glance there was nothing different about me from my condition a week ago. Well, except for being a couple of years younger. Then what's so bad about what happened? I might even consider this a second chance. After all, it's not that hard to get a job. I could rent a room in a hostel. I'm 17 now. I'm still healthy. My brain is in an excellent state. My energy is at its peak. I might try to achieve something. But what had prevented me from doing so before? Was I really that old back then? I jammed like an old rifle, and without outside help I wouldn't have escaped this cycle of self-reflection. Fortunately, Lena soon appeared by the camp leader's cabin. Hi. I raised my eyes reluctantly and stared through her for a few seconds. Hello? She stopped, looked away and blushed. Well, never mind. May I have a seat? Sure. Lena perched herself on the edge of a deck chair. What are you thinking about? Trying to understand the laws of this world. And how is it going? She asked seriously. Not too good. Perhaps they're beyond human comprehension. Then maybe you shouldn't bother. But what should I do? I just have to. Why? And really, why? Does it happen to be of some vital urgency? I didn't really bother thinking about all the things like that in the past and lived in relative peace. And what has changed so drastically now? I won't think about it now either, and we'll be living in somewhat different conditions. But what's wrong with that? If there is no choice, I don't know. It seems that nothing is up to me. It looked like Lena wanted to say something, but she didn't. And you probably came to see Olga Dmitrievna? Yes. No. But to be honest, what is it? Sometimes I feel that way too. What do you mean? That nothing is up to me. I looked at her attentively. She was sitting with downcast eyes, nervously toying with a handful of field flowers. They were yellow like the fervent rays of the summer sun. Well, These flowers, for instance, they were growing just for the sake of it, and then I ripped them out of the ground, and that's all. She was literally about to start crying. It didn't really fit my picture of Lena. Well, yeah. To be honest, I really don't know what to say. Well, so are we. We are ripped out, and then... She got up abruptly and rushed in the direction of the square without saying goodbye. Yeah, that's her bipolar acting up, I'm guessing. Indeed, Lena, like all the other pioneers, seemed to be real. Not a figment of my imagination, not a doll, not an NPC. A few hours ago, I was sure that I'm the only one who exists here. And possibly that cat-eared girl. I wish I could find her. I'm in a state of something like a spiritual deprivation. All my senses are working properly, but I still have a painful need to know why I'm here. As if the need for identity, to find my place in this world, to determine its nature, laws and mechanisms had become vital, just like the need for food and rest. It is probably the worst punishment for a human, to have the desire to understand something but not the ability, to wish to change something but not to have the opportunity, to strive for something but not be able to achieve it. I never seriously thought before, why am I in the world? How much time will I spend here? What do I have to do? And what will come next? Now, after encountering this other world, I have nothing left but to think about these. I guess that it's possible to escape from here. I will return to my quiet life where I don't have such troubles. But I won't return. It's so hard to face a task which cannot be completed. If I could choose my fate, I would never agree to this bus, this camp, these girls. I would stay there, in my apartment, in front of the monitor. You can't demand anything more from a person than he can do. It's better to spend the rest of your life working in the mind than trying to understand something that just won't fit into your head. After all, there is no other way. Of course, it is possible to make a valiant effort, to try not to think, try to accept this reality and to start a new life. But it's not part of human nature to neglect everything that happens around you. If I was accused of a crime which I had not committed, of course I would try to resist, to prove my innocence. No one would agree to live in a jail instead of at a home, whatever their home is like. And now it's me who was thrown from the world I was used to into this jail. Though it is boundless, though there are no walls or bars on the windows, it is still a jail. I did not ask for this, and my only desire for now is to return back home. And the only key out of here is hung just a bit higher than I can reach with a jump. And there is nothing helpful around, no chair, no stool, not even a small stone that could be put under my feet. And no one to help me. A few centimeters, just a few centimeters separating me from freedom, from realizing everything. Maybe it's possible to return back home, but at least I'll be able to escape from this jail. That is exactly what I wanted for the last 5 days. Oh, we slept through the entire day, huh? Night slowly descended onto the camp. Dinner went by without me, and the camp leader stopped several times by the deck chair trying to tell me something. But I was already in another world. The world of my cage with a key, bound by a Gordian knot to Ariadne's thread. And where's... Oh no, it becomes... Olga is sleeping now too. It was not long before the light in the camera was turned off and the crickets started their lamentable whining all around. Somewhere in the distance an owlet was hooting at the speed of 37 hoots per minute. I was sitting and rhythmically knocking, trying to accompany him. Suddenly, bushes rustled around me, and a squirrel with a nut in its teeth climbed on a tree. It must be hurrying to meet its family. The summer night's charm was as rich as always, but it didn't affect me in any way at all. The mechanisms of my brain and probably my soul were in need of serious maintenance, not just slapdash repair on the bodywork and a new paint job. I decided to take a walk. Because thinking about it, I've been sitting in this deck chair for almost the whole day. I even took a small nap. Everyone in the camp was tired. The camp was sleeping. Oh, okay. We're walking around everywhere it seems, looking at everything this camp has to offer. Interesting. Every single area we can walk to. I walk between pioneers' cabins, the square with the statue of Uganda, the forest path, and all that was changing like pictures in a kid's book. The whole world looked like a picture too. And that is not what I was thinking just yesterday. And the reason for that was a strange girl with animal ears, a cat girl, though she could just as likely be any other animal. It was like there's a defense mechanism that activated just after I appeared here, which didn't let me look for answers or get a hold of the situation. There were always more important things, such as missing the lineup, getting a comfortable seat during lunch, or sneaking away from the camp leader. Anything other than thinking about why I'm here and how I can get out. Anything. I sat on a stump and closed my eyes. A million images appeared in my brain at once, and among them was a road, a bus, and that girl. Yes, the girl with the animal ears. It was her who was in a bus. Yeah, there she is again. Oh, there she is. Okay. I quickly opened my eyes and saw her in front of me. It's sad, though, that she looks like so bored and disparaged. I don't know. I quickly opened my eyes and saw her in front of me. At first it looked like a dream or a hallucination, but a sudden gust of cold wind brought me back to reality. The strange girl was sitting and sprinkling sugar on a mushroom. Sprinkling sugar on a mushroom. Okay, so in one of the first playthroughs, I thought she took flour from us, not sugar. Maybe she took a scoopful of sugar. A handful, I mean. But she did take sugar. And we never know if she liked it, though. They grow better this way, she said with a serious face. Who? I uttered with difficulty. The mushrooms. Who else? Mushrooms. Yes, mushrooms. Why do you need those mushrooms? To eat, of course. Why else would you need mushrooms? The girl pouted. I just didn't know how to start a conversation with her, because I was sure that the thing which looked like a strange girl with animal ears had brought me here, and making friends with a higher being wouldn't do much good. Do you have any more sugar? She asked suddenly. I don't know. No. Why do you need it? What do you mean, why? I told you, for the mushrooms. They grow better that way. Despite everything, the girl looked totally normal. Of course, you don't often see a human with animal ears and a tail, and they actually looked real. But apart from that, I can bring some. I don't know why I said that. Maybe I just wanted to earn her trust. As long as mind reading wasn't one of her abilities. That's alright, no need. There is enough. Good. And? What? Why did you come? What does she mean? Come to this glade or come to this camp? Or into this life? My head was about to explode from existential thoughts. Just a little bit more, and everything would become crystal clear. No, the answers and the understanding didn't appear from thin air. The safety device just cut in. Caution, doors are closing, no more people will fit into the train. The next stop is... The train was gone and I stayed on the platform without my luggage, wearing a light jacket in the minus 20 degrees Celsius frost. I was just having a walk. The words echoed hollowly in my head. I felt like a Viking from the Middle Ages who stands alone against 100 enemies. No doubts, no regrets, only an iron will to die hard. I see. The girl answered without much interest and went back to her work. It was you, back there in the bus? Me? She replied lazily without tearing herself away from the mushrooms. Why did you bring me here? I didn't bring you. Then who? I don't know. But were you in the bus? I was. And what? Yelling at her was dangerous, but I couldn't help it. What? Answer me! Did you ask something? It looks like this conversation doesn't bother her at all. Yeah, you need to be careful when it comes to fairy people. You know, they can completely fuck you up. So be careful. Who are you? She looked at me in surprise. I am me. Okay. Where are you from? I don't know. I've always been here. What do you mean, always? You must have come from somewhere, no? I don't know. I doubted for a moment that this is an omnipotent being before me. Of course, the girl is a little extraordinary, to be precise, absolutely extraordinary. And she was with me in the bus then, but maybe she has nothing to do with my arrival here. Anything is possible. What do you know? Okay, interesting. I know how to make supplies for winter. She smiled with sweetness and ease. What supplies? Well, you know, for the winter. It could get cold. I've never seen the local winters though. How come you've never seen them if you've always been here? I don't know, because the game is called Everlasting Summer. She looked at me intently. Anyway, you're boring as hell. Me? Yes, you. How do I bore you? Your stupid questions. Stupid? Well, I was dragged out of my usual world, brought here, and now my questions are stupid? Yes, she calmly replied. So, what questions would you consider not stupid? Where one can get sugar, for example. In the canteen, where else? Plenty for you to steal. You're well known for doing that, I've heard. I do not steal. The animal-eared girl was outraged. I am borrowing it. It comes back anyway. Oh, interesting. So even though the game loops, she still stays the same. She never loops. Fascinating. Comes back or not, I don't care. I want to understand how and why I am here. I want to go back. I'm not interested in that. The girl stood up and shook herself. But I'm interested. If you're not the one to blame for everything, then you must know the answers. Someone should know them after all. She looked at me intently and laughed. You're funny. I completely lost my temper. Stop mocking me! You! I am fed up with you! Why me exactly? How am I worse than anyone else? I never asked for anything as fun as all this. Leave me alone. I didn't bother anyone. I didn't hurt anyone. What did I ever do to you? Get lost! Let me live in peace! My whole body shivered. The blood pounded in my head like a cannon. Everything went dark before my eyes. Have you blown off all your steam? She asked quietly. I was about to smash her. At least I'll check if she is flesh and blood. Alright, let's go. Where? You'll see. The girl gestured to me to follow her and went into the depths of the forest. Okay, where are we going? After some time I started to suspect that we were walking in circles. Finally I decided to check it out and put a candy wrapper in a noticeable spot. Indeed, we soon passed it again. Wait. I didn't dare to grab her hand, so I tried to stop her verbally. What? Where are you taking me? I said that you'll see. But we're walking in circles. So what? What do you mean, so what? You won't get anywhere by walking in circles. But you said it yourself, that you were just having a walk. The girl seems strange, illogical, and even arrogant, as if she's taking pleasure in mocking me. I'm not moving an inch until you explain what is going on. Okay. She stopped and leaned back against a large tree. I was just bored. It's the same old stuff all the time. All the time. But recently lots of new stuff happened, and now... Oh, we are changing stuff here. Now what? Now I can talk to you. She smiled. And you couldn't do it before? Well, I certainly could. Maybe. So what happened? I don't know. Then why do you think that something has happened in the first place? I got a feeling. A feeling, huh? I gave a helpless sigh. Maybe she's just a lunatic that escaped a local asylum and not an omnipotent being. Well, there are definitely things in between there, you know. Come on, let's get serious. Okay, fine. The girl looked at me intently. The girl looked at me intently. Why are you... Who are you and what's happening here? I don't know. She answered with the same expression on her face. And who knows? I don't know. Alright, I'm going to sleep. I had no strength to talk about it, to listen in to her nonsense, to walk in circles in the forest. Even if she knows the answers and she can return me to the usual world and all, not today. Just enough for today. If I stay here one more second, there won't be anyone left to return. Good night, the girl said nicely. That's all? What else do you want? You're going to sleep. She is right. Okay. Do you at least have a name? Name? Yes, a name. I don't know. And who knows? I don't know. Okay, and what should I call you then? I don't know. But a person, every single thing in the world should have a name. There's no other way. She looked at me uncomprehendingly. Alright then, you will be Yulya. Yulya! I don't know why I chose that name. Maybe it was just the first thing that came to my mind. Fine. She smiled merrily. And now I have to go. The girl flickered her ears and disappeared into the forest. I slowly dragged my feet back to the camp. Now it looked like I was in some sort of tragicomedy. The higher beings cannot be idiots with the development level of a kindergartner, can they? Though it is possible they don't perceive the world the same way we do. I was so exhausted I couldn't fully comprehend everything that had happened to me recently. The answers could be right before me. I just needed to stretch out my arms. It could be that saving stool, which could help me to reach the key. And how could I be so calm in such a situation? Maybe I'm just tired. Dead tired. Olga Dmitrievna waited for me on the doorstep of her cabin. At last! And where were you wandering in the dead of night? I looked hard at the camp leader. I wonder, is she real? I don't have a single doubt about that girl Yulya. She may not be human, but she exists. And what about Olga Dmitrievna, the other pioneers? You know, I saw that cat girl. Sure, of course, she chuckled. Well, you don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I don't want to, and I don't believe you. It's your choice, I said in a tired voice and pushed my way into the cabin. Semyon, tomorrow? I didn't hear the rest of her words. There was the only one thing to understand, whether anything is up to me or not. Should I keep desperately reaching for that key, or is the cat girl the answer I've been looking for? Maybe the only thing left to do is to understand. No one ever said that the clue will be written straightforwardly in your own language. Though maybe I always known the answers and I just had to comprehend their meaning. What if everything is not real and I'm just dreaming? What if I just imagined everything about finding the answers, about understanding them? Maybe there is no cage, no jail, and the keys has already been hung up from the burned out lamp in my room, which has turned into a pioneer camp, inhabited by unreal but very alive people, who seem so understandable and so precious. Well, no. I am not a wizard, not an oracle, not a god. Voltaire once said, illusion is the first of all pleasures. Maybe my most successful skill was my illusions. Lines of thoughts connected one by one, ready to keep it going until morning, but the safety device worked again and unplugged the whole system, instead of reformatting my brain like last time. Oh, I was woken up by a hellish noise in my head.